Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm COVID MJ in the house.
Is this really Marty Jannetty?
Never know, huh?
We never know. Wrestling fans, you know what time it is. You had the turkey, you had the pies. It's 10 o'clock Thursday night. Brand new Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty is next.
Yay.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
All right, wrestling fans, Dan Marty, Marty Jannetty here. Marty, I hope you had a very happy Thanksgiving. What did you have in Jannetty land today for Thanksgiving?
Had a, I hate to eat animals because I love them so much.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Are you a vegan?
Yeah, well, but I went ahead. If somebody else cooks them and kills them and all that,
yeah,
it's a little easier on me. Man, this ain't working. Can you imagine, though, walking into a bank like this and have a little gym bag with you?
I think bank robbers were the only ones that were ready for Corona.
Yeah, out there, yeah, right. They're used to it. But what was the question?
What did you have for Thanksgiving? What do you usually do on a traditional Jannetty Thanksgiving?
They had lined my house, my carpet now with snow leopard fur for a rug carpet. Mm-hmm. And I guess you can eat snow leopard. Did you know that?
I did not. I've never had snow leopard.
No, that was first for me too. But it was just like any other meat. It was pretty good.
You had the actual snow leopard meat?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That was your Thanksgiving?
They could have lied to me because it was all cut up and put in a big old thing. And I didn't really want to eat the thing that's all over my carpet. The fur of it. So. What? Why you always get on to me about stuff?
I'm not getting on you about anything. I'm interested.
No, I had turkey and ham and a little Cornish hen that I gave to Swaggy. Waggy ate a little bit of.
You even treated your cat to a little Thanksgiving.
Oh, got to, man. It's only right.
You're a good man.
It's actually like he allowed me to eat.
I know. Sometimes when you love your animals, you feed them better than you do yourself when you have the opportunity.
And you know about Waggy, right?
Now, who's Waggy?
Waggy's the little mouse, a house mouse that I guess it must be a new offspring of mice. So 2 or 3 of them in the house lately, and he catches them. He just wants to play with them. But he saw that I tried to keep the first one, but it got away. But he saw that I like them, so now he catches them and he brings them to me. And I got to grab like a towel or something, and so they don't bite me. It's
like playing fetch.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's an interesting way to do it.
But so this last one, I'll be able to put him. Right now I got him in a big pickle jar, and then how I lost the last one is I put him in the bathtub. The bathroom was being remodeled, so I really couldn't use it anyway. Mm-hmm. So I put him in the tub, and he was jumping, but he was not getting quite to the top, so I wasn't worried about it. I left him home for a day or so, kept the door closed so Swaggy didn't go give him a heart attack playing with him. But I came back and he was gone. I was like, he finally got to where he could jump up on catch a ledge and take off. Must not have fed him correctly. But anyway, the last one, I'm keeping him in a jar. And I got a big old pretzel jar thing that I keep him in also. It's a little bigger so he can play.
It'd have to be a hell of an escape for him.
Yeah, I treat him good, man. I feed him Doritos. Every kind of cheese, like Swiss cheese, Munster cheese. He loves that. My brother said, give him some meat. And I thought, rats eat meat? It's not rats.
Well,
sorry about that,
Waggy.
But yeah. We'll have to talk about that Hojo's lately, or later.
The ass-eating express, as they call it.
Yeah, and then luscious little rain. We'll leave her alone.
I tell you this, funny enough, there have actually been fan requests for us to have Annie in the studio.
Yeah, I saw that.
Isn't that something?
I saw that.
She may have a second run yet.
Well, make sure that I'm behind the cameras on that one.
Remember how Nikolai used to try and do those one-arm push-ups?
What do you mean? He tried?
Well, you remember how he used to do
those? Yeah, he did them. Yeah.
With Annie, she could put both arms behind her back, and she could do tongue push-ups.
Damn.
That's how she would train
for
the garden house shows every month.
How'd you know that?
Oh, see, it was just an educated guess. I didn't know it was factual.
Okay. No, I
But tongue
didn't.
push-ups.
I don't know. Sound like you had a ringside seat.
No, for the fans at home, that may want a Thanksgiving treat, unlike Annie, during Marty's visit this time, he's staying at the, I guess, highly remodeled version of what used to be the Howard Johnson's in Revere, Massachusetts.
That was the place back in the day.
That was the party place in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
If those walls could talk.
You know, the floors and the ceiling. The whole room would let you know, well, we done seen some stuff. What you gonna do?
There was a lot of WWF DNA in those rooms.
Yes. Yeah, more than what's her name had Clinton. What was that?
Monica
Lewinsky.
Lewinsky.
Yeah, more.
There were a lot of stained dresses amongst other orifices.
Yeah, man. I seen some stuff there. I was just telling, because I went back there and it's similar. They've remodeled it a lot. Boy, they still got some cute girls working there. I told you.
To me, like I said, when I went in to do the check-in process, it was like a different place. I was shocked. Just remember when you walked in, if you went all the way down to the end, on the right side there was the restaurant, and on the left side there was kind of like a nightclub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the club, that was one of the reasons, all the fans from the Garden, they knew we were going straight over there, get cleaned up, and be at the club. So.
And it was easy. Instead of having to go clean up and then travel, you had a restaurant and a nightclub right in the same hotel.
And everybody just stayed there because if you ended up drinking one too many, you just stumbled to your room.
You didn't have to worry about drinking and driving. And for those fans that enjoy the Annie stories, Annie's sister that looked like Big Bird, Gina, she used to work at that.
Which one's Gina?
The one that looked like Big Bird and sounded
That's
like
her
Annie.
name?
Gina.
Yeah, she still comes around,
Well, I remember at one of our live events, she lifted her shirt to show a scar from a child that came into the world, and it was blamed on you.
No, it was not. Well, it was blamed is right. You played the blame game.
The only problem is, like I noted before, Annie looked a little bit kind of like Adrian Adonis before he dyed his hair blonde, and Gina looked kind of like Big Bird. But they sounded
a lot like
identical.
Big Bird. That's what we called her.
They sounded identical.
And then there was Wally Gator.
Which one was that?
Remember the girl? I think her name was Christina. I hate saying this. Chrissa.
Jake's rat.
Yeah. Well,
Minnie's rats. But
it was
Jake...
that was Damien's rat. And the reason I say that, one time way back in the day, and this kind of stuff doesn't go on that much anymore, if ever.
That's why wrestling's ruined.
Yeah. Jake called me up one night, and he said, I answered him, it was late. I'm like, hello? I could tell it was a room-to-room call. And he goes, hey, Marty. As soon as I heard him quiet, I'm like, I knew what was up. That means he's been dabbling a little too much into the what does Iron Sheik call it?
The medicine. The medicine.
Jumping, he'd been dabbling with the medicine. And, a lot of the guys, when they do a lot of the medicine, can't really perform for the girl.
Like going to the ice cream stand and getting the soft serve ice cream.
Yeah. Well, something like that.
Jake had a little soft serve.
It's called CD.
CD?
Yes.
Or ED, I thought.
No, CD. No,
CD?
Coke dick.
Oh, I thought you were going to, because there's a cocaine.
No, but this one time, and I'm trying to pad this up so nobody gets their feelings hurt or upset, but yeah, he called me over. I knew what that meant. It meant, somebody there needed servicing. He wasn't able to. And, I'm the first one he'd always call for that. And plus it meant you were, back then when we did the medicine to stay awake, it wasn't recreational, it was medicine.
It was needed in some, you hate to say that about some of these hard drugs, but to the guys that lived the life you did in the, circus animal travel schedules that you had, you needed things to wake you up and help you go to sleep.
Yeah, if you were going to be on the road for 30, 40 straight days, anything after 10, you're dragging ass. Mm-hmm. You're going to need some kind of help and coffee and other little regular stimulants, over-the-counter stimulants. Nah, go ahead and throw that out the window. You're going to need something strong to keep going, do another 20 days. But then that's the thing at night, you're sitting there ready to go to sleep because you got to get up early for catch the flight and do that whole routine the next day. And you can't sleep, you're sitting there like this. So you take some downer shit, so you can go to sleep. And you wake up and the alarm goes off at 6 a.m. You got to go catch your flight and you're like this. Oh shit! I got to get the flight. Okay, I'm ready.
Whoops.
Yeah, that's the way it was. It was for those kind of reasons. The recreation part probably came after doing it for so long. Now you're kind of addicted.
The recreation part was there, but the one thing, a lot of the fans, they have fun with the discussions. But the ones that kind of mock what the guys of that era went through, it bothers me because they don't realize that a lot of these drugs were needed for actual medicine and is a necessity. Now, could there have been other things that could have been used to get the job done? I have no idea. I didn't live
And
the
if
life.
you have an idea, let me know what it was, because we probably already tried it.
But let me tell you something. These were genuine human beings that went out, and it was a circus animal type life. Being gone. Look at Cheeky
A
Baby.
circus animal would have got pissed off.
Look at I remember the Sheik one time said he did over 90 consecutive days without going home. And this wasn't in the territory days when you could drive. This was during the WWF
Flights.
boom when you were flying.
Every day.
3 months without going home and seeing his wife and kids. 3 months where every morning he had to go through the airport, go through security, go get your luggage, go get a rent-a-car in the next city, find a gym, find a place to eat, check into the hotel, leave your stuff, go to the arena, wrestle, go back to the hotel, try and sleep for a little bit after you try and get something to eat or have a drink, then repeat that cycle 90 consecutive days.
And don't be late, because planes don't wait. You know?
Or don't be late to the arena or you get fined.
Yeah, you get a little bit of a fine, and then it was so funny when we first started. Davey Boy and Dynamite Kid, God rest both their souls, great people, great friends of mine. They used to laugh about the fines if you were late. They'd give you a couple of leeways, or passes, and then they didn't give a shit because they were making so much money. They would laugh about it. Dynamite, fucking look at this fucking check. They took $3,000 out, and I still got $6,000. So fuck them. They were making some money. They didn't care about being late and getting there. It was $500 a pop. Each day, each time you're late.
In the 80s, that was significant.
Yeah.
Especially if you were a mid or undercard guy.
And then it was the dress codes that have been in and out and in and out.
Which is absurd.
They try, well, I don't know, they're trying to keep up, like football players and basketball players.
Yeah.
When you see them come to the building.
Professional athletes that are on chartered flights that get on a nice chartered bus and taken to their paid hotel to eat their paid meals. I can see them expected to be dressing a little nicer. Yeah.
You're not those scraggly ass wrestlers?
No, not people that were treated like circus animals. No.
Yeah.
I think they deserved at least being able to be a little comfortable on their nightly flights and coach.
Well, and that is the thing. Say, whereas the basketball players, the football players, they're direct to the place, to the building, and directly where they're back home. We're gonna eat breakfast in New York, lunch in Chicago, and dinner in L.A. Man, you don't want to be all stiffened up in a suit and a necktie, and alligator skin boots and stuff. They're just all squeezing you. You got to be like this.
I don't like to do it in the middle of the show, but I want to get a cheap plug in here, Marty, because it's important. There are things like the Super Chat where fans can participate during the premieres on Marty's show Thursday night at 10 o'clock, and the Patreon that we have, where for the price of a coffee at Starbucks, fans get early ad-free access to all of the talk shows each week and access to our Studio Shoot Interview DVD library, which includes those Iron Sheik classics that were on the Howard Stern show daily for months. But more important, it helps keep the wrestling legends working, like Marty, like Tony Atlas. My goal, ultimate goal is, first of all, we're at the point now where we have 4. I want to have every night, 7 nights a week, I want to have a different star have their own talk show like this. Have them have an easy.
Well, you talk about a lot of room, a lot of time in that editing room.
Well, Marty, one thing is I'm always willing to put the time in if the fans will support it.
I've seen that.
10, 12-hour days. And a lot of times I'm here 7 days a week. But it's a passion of mine, Marty.
Right.
I want these guys to keep working because what they put their bodies through, so many of them ruin their bodies, their relationships with their wives, their kids. To see some of the guys out in their 60s, even their 70s at some point, still trying to work in the ring, to me is absurd. I want to try and create an easy platform to guys to simply come in, tell their story, sign a couple of autographs, and go home with income in their pocket. You can do that at the Patreon for a couple of bucks a month. Patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. We can't do it without
What is it? Repeat that.
Patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. They get early, ad-free. For those that complain about the ads, you get ad-free access, early access to every episode, and there's hundreds of episodes in the archives for you to enjoy, plus some full-length DVDs. If you're an Iron Sheik fan, it's like a euphoria to see the tales of him wanting to anally violate Brian Blair and Hulk and Jake and Randy Savage and the medicine stories and stranding the fabulous Moolah on a highway because she didn't like his medicine. But, I mean, again...
Is that what happened on that?
Yeah, that's a true story.
Well, I knew it. I heard it. I didn't know if that's what it was.
Him, Valentine,
was
Wendy
about.
Richter, and Moolah were in a drive into Providence, as a matter of fact. Moolah didn't like the medicine, so the Sheik took great offense to it. He had Valentine pull the car over, and they threw Moolah out of the car. So they could enjoy their medicine in peace, I guess. But anyway, if you want to hear 3 hours of that drug-induced tirade, you head on over to patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. And in 2020, 2021, let's do everything we can to help keep wrestling legends working in an easy way. Not in a wrestling ring, and right now there are no wrestling shows in most states for them to even get in the ring and compete on. It's been a horrible time for them. This is our way to give back. And I have to say, Marty, I'm going to put you over, thanks in part to you. We set records as far as viewership overall as a channel in September and October, almost tenfold from a year ago. So if we can keep doing that year after year,
It's only going to get better.
that's how I look at it. And you're the Thursday night delight as far as the fans are concerned. But anyway,
Party with Marty.
after that pitch, again, the super chat, it's almost like we're giving you free entertainment, folks. Don't forget to tip the bartender. You know, we don't want to have to
That'd
walk
be- I'll
around
go
with a
to the sports
baseball cap. You know, you got any spare change? You got a dollar? Got a dollar? Got a dollar? But every dollar adds up because it's expensive. This studio isn't free. Marty's time isn't free. The airlines certainly aren't free.
Not
The
at all.
hotels aren't free. Printing and advertising isn't free. My time seems to be free because I'm usually the last one to get anything out of it. But don't worry about me. I believe putting out goodwill will lead to good things in the end. But anyway,
I'll
back
give you a
to-
dollar later.
Thank you. Back to Jake Roberts' soft penis because of the medicine.
Damn, we didn't forget that at all, did you?
Well, it is Thanksgiving. It's a holiday.
Wow. Yeah, so
So
you
Jake
know,
was soft and he called your room.
I knew, I knew what was up.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Well,
anytime I heard it,
You knew what wasn't up, actually.
yeah,
But
yeah. Anytime I heard it, hey, I was like, all right, I'll be there in a minute.
so you were
What room number?
You were Jake's backup quarterback, in a
Yeah.
way, in a sense.
Yeah, and I
and
went in
Damien, I
that
guess.
particular time at the Hojo's. Well, now it's the Sheraton.
So you went down to the room.
And
what
it
do
was
we got?
funny, the door, he had the little latch, that goes on the ball. He had it between so the door wouldn't lock. So I went and wanted to knock first, tapped. He says, come on in. And that scratchy, little voice, come on in. And like kind of trying to whisper a yell. But so I pushed the door open. It's one of these, it's got the little hallway. And there's the desk, like a business desk right there facing it. And then the room's off to the right. You got to go down a little bit, and there's the room, the bed and the TV. And so I opened the door, and he's sitting there, and he's just grinning, and he's just pointing over there, like, there's where you go. and he's sweating a little bit, and it was cool in the room. I don't know how the hell he was sweating, but. Jake and I were great friends, man. We didn't care about nothing. He didn't care. I'm sweating. I'm sitting here naked, and you just go over there, leave me right here, kind of thing. And so I had no clue who it would be, but I tiptoe and I look around the corner. Oh my goodness. I don't know. I wasn't there to see how it all went down, but Damien, his snake. Someone had been using the tail end on her, and he's like, and I'm like looking at her scales all off on her thighs and all over the bed, snake scales, and I was like, no, I'm not getting in the middle. No, and old Damien's whole tail was curled up like he was pissed that I wasn't done yet, or something like that.
Do you think Damien understood what was going on?
I never really got to talk to Damien that much. He moved to Jersey. But yeah.
If those pets could talk that were on the road.
But that was at that Hojo. That was one of the many things. Big Bird had some, some stuff. I just seen her like, I don't know, a couple months ago. It was probably longer than that. Can't get no shows lately because of the COVID thing. But that's the way to do it there. Matt Daddy says, hey, y'all. And it's not Mac Daddy, it's M-A-T-T, Matt Daddy. Matt Daddy.
So would Jake do that regularly? Would he insert the snake into the rat's cavities?
That was none of my business. I never asked. I just, know I was a part of that one. That's the only reason I'll share it, because that's part of my history, my life too.
Well,
but what I can say now, I said it was, what's her name? Chrissa? The one you used to see a lot? We always called her, Kurt Hennig. Look, have y'all seen Wally Gator? Wally Gator, Jake's girl. The one with the teeth that looked like alligator teeth, because they were like pointy, all of them were pointy. Yeah.
Well, I remember Jake did an interview to promote a live event with us that he wound up no-showing, but when was that? This was 2005.
Oh, shit.
And in this promotional interview, he talked about how he liked to torture Chrissa, so...
Oh, for real?
It was a great promotion.
He was torturing her that night. She was waiting, and he was, I can't right now. But it wasn't her, though. I just didn't want to say, but I guess it's all right. Because, shit, this was back early 90s. We had got a memo, what do they call them, memo?
Memos, yeah.
Memos from the office, and it was about fraternization with office personnel. Later on, when they started having the Raw girls, what they call, where they come out with a card and walk around the ring.
They had some pretty ones, and then they had the Rosatis.
Yeah.
Hopefully it wasn't a Rosati.
Well, no, I'm just saying that's the time frame.
Okay, the time period.
Yeah, they started, they didn't want the guys messing with the girls and the girls messing with the guys. But the office personnel, we were like, when do we see them? I hate to say it, but basically they didn't want them mingling with the office personnel because they might get some pertinent inside information, and we aren't supposed to know how the inner workings go.
God forbid.
Yeah, right. And so it was in the memo. I don't know if we had to sign it or it was just a memo they gave us. No fraternization, or you'd get fired or heavily fined or suspended. And yeah. I'm doing that for Jake. It was an office girl, actually. I knew her well because I was hanging out with her friend that worked in the office also. They're going to know who I'm talking about, those girls, but nobody else will.
Now, this was a high-ranking executive assistant of sorts, was it not?
I'm not going to say anything more than what I did. But they were in the position where they could tell us, accidentally, just in conversation.
Big time information.
Yeah. And that's why they didn't want none of that.
So instead of heeding this memo, Jake instead decided to invite this high-ranking executive assistant in Stamford, Connecticut to his room to violate her with Damien's tail.
I don't know if he did it. She might have done it herself.
Oh, maybe she put Damien in
I wasn't there for all that.
So
I would have tried to stop it.
So at this point, you would have nothing to do with the situation.
Would you?
No.
There were scales all over her, like all in my ear. And it was all over the bed, too. The scales, and it was just
that sounds like something out of a horror movie.
It looked like I couldn't even stick around. But I just told her, oh, look, man, I'm tired.
But was there pleasure in this woman?
It should have been. She looked great. Had a great body.
But I mean, was she happy with this situation when you walked in?
She wasn't crying or bleeding.
Well, was there the opposite going on? Was she, I don't know if excited?
Oh, she was laid back. She was laid back when I come around the corner. She smiled because she knew who I was, of course. I was seeing her friend. And she was just like, sort of an invitation, like just laying there and smiling. She never really did this, but it was basically she might as well have been doing, come here, come on.
Did you ever think you had the potential to tag team a high-ranking WWE executive?
Not before that day.
With a snake. With a snake, not another guy, with an animal.
Yeah, that would have been, I'd have had to get a new earring. Bestiality.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, you know what? It is Thanksgiving. I guess the high-ranking WWF executive had a feast back with Jake in the day, but the scales sound disgusting. Right now, fans...
We didn't have cell phones. I'd have taken a picture of that.
Oh, I can imagine the pictures, the Polaroid days.
Do you know we're not in jail today? Because there was no cell phones.
And social media, right? No,
Yeah.
imagine if
Yes.
there was social media.
Oh, no, we couldn't.
Dear Lord, wrestling fans, right now we're going to take a break. We're going to be talking about something near and dear to our heart right here, baby. This man, who I miss every
we're
day.
going to switch gears fast, huh?
The 9th annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive. This year, because we can't have that live wrestling event, it's turning into a fan fest where fans can get virtual autographs from the guys. Marty has already been with us. Tony Atlas and Leo Rush. We have a plethora of stars coming your way in December. Savio Vega, the Nasty Boys, the Warlord, Tatanka, the new Impact Wrestling World Champion Rich Swann, and more. Right now we're going to take a time out, tell you about the great toy drive. Head on over to bostonwrestling.com. We got great merchandise available, not only to add to your wrestling collection to give as a gift, but more than anything, you're going to help update Santa Claus's GPS and honor the memory of a man that I still believe is with us here in spirit, Paul Bearer.
Sure
We'll be
he is.
back after this brief timeout.
Yeah, he's here.
Wrestling fans, the 9th annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive explodes into Christmas with 12 featured superstar guests. We can't bring you a live wrestling event due to COVID restrictions, but we'll be bringing you a series of cyber signings and meet and greets. On Saturday, December the 5th, fans around the corner and around the world can get nasty with former WWE and WCW Tag Team Champions Brian Knobbs and Jerry Saggs, the Nasty Boys, joining us for a live cyber autograph signing here in MWF Studios. Get a personalized autograph from the Nasty Boys, signed to you live on the air and mailed to your home. Join us now through mid-December as superstars help us continue our annual mission to update Santa Claus's GPS to find every kid's house this Christmas, put smiles on faces while honoring Paul Bearer's memory. VIP packages are still available. Don't worry. If you missed a live superstar signing, every star is signing enough photos while they're here in Boston to fill VIP packages through December the 19th. Whether for your wrestling collection or to give as a holiday gift, if you're going to take part in any toy drive this year, please help our 9th annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive. Visit bostonwrestling.com and our social media platforms for complete event and toy drive information. All right, wrestling fans, we hope you had a lot to be thankful for today, even in these Corona times. Hopefully you're able to even socially distance with your loved ones and friends and family, and maybe even get ready to do a little Black Friday shopping at a store or online. But again,
Is that a racist comment?
I think it could turn into one. There's potential for it.
Okay.
I don't know. But again, for us, each Christmas season, can I use the C word, Marty? Some people get offended. But it's all about honoring this guy, Paul Bearer. He was only with us for the first toy drive he started with myself and John Cena Sr., but we carry on his name because his name deserves to be remembered. But great segue, Marty. In this episode, we wanted to talk about some of the fallen friends we've had since the last time you were here. First, Road Warrior Animal, who was supposed to be with us here in Boston on November the 14th, in the very seat you're sitting in right now, believe it or not.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to honor him. I packed it too far back there. And then following weeks after this episode, wearing some of the stuff that I got from him. You remember him and Hulk there on the Zubas?
Yes.
You remember?
Yep.
And the last time I seen him and Kim, his wife, he gave me a bunch of them, and I think I figured I'd wear a couple of them in honor of him the next couple episodes. I actually got them here today, but I was in a hurry. I had to run straight from the gym to here. Do I look horrible?
You look fine.
Man, look at this knot in my leg.
You got to stop banging your foot on the floor.
No, but right here I can see this big knot right here. I don't even know what happened. Right. Hold on. Oh, that's my wallet. Oh shit! Scared the hell out of me. But what were we talking about? Animal.
Road Warrior Animal.
Man, love the brother. That shocked me. So bad. I think I've said on the show before that we lose. At one point, we were losing our brothers at such a rapid rate. You get that phone call at 2 a.m. Hey, did you hear what happened? And then at first it was like, no, what, and, you know, to say a name, well, no, what happened to him? And then, you know, he's gone. And after a while, it comes down to where, as soon as you hear the intro, hey, did you hear what happened? Then you kind of close off real quick because you don't want to hear the name coming, because you get to a point, you don't really ever desensitize.
Never.
But you kind of, you got your inner circle that you hope, don't let it be one of those 5. Don't let it be, and then when they say the name, it's almost a relief at first because it's not one of your the inner circles, but it upsets you. But that's how it got. It was so every 3 months, every 2 months for like 10 years. There was like, it was in USA Today when they had that paper. What's going on with the wrestling world? 70 guys in 10 years, so an average of 70 a year. You know, so it's almost like every other month. I hope my math wasn't horrible there, but
and young people, we're not talking about guys
oh
in
yeah,
their 70s
it's not time to go. You know, it's not your senior years. You know, 30, and at that point it was guys 30 and 20, a lot of 20, older 20s, and 30s and 40s, and the older ones were in the 50s. Like Bad News was 53. You know, a couple of the guys were in the 50s. It wasn't even the guys in the 60s and 70s. It was all the younger guys. But, you know, and I hate to say it, but it was a lot of the guys that toured and did those 300-day-a-year tours. And, yeah, it's rough on the body, especially when you're burning the candle at both ends. You know, you know, back then, it's no secret. And I've said this before on the show. It's no secret steroid use was rampant back then, too. You know, most of the guys, pretty much, I can't even think of anybody that OD'd from steroids, died from steroids.
Well, I think it's to those that they claim have died from heart attacks, when they look at the hearts and they open up the body, and you have a heart the size of a large pizza.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, what's causing that
small,
heart disease?
Small, large pizza, though.
Yeah.
But, you know, and then there was the guys that partied really hard, like, say, myself and Pat Tanaka and a handful of the others that didn't do the steroids. They really didn't fall off. It was a lot of them that was doing the steroids and the partying.
And I think that just, the body just basically exploded on the inside.
Well, yeah, the heart, you know, you're double timing the
much.
heart, you know, not to mention the workload. You got the workload, then you're adding that, the steroid, to the body, and then you're adding the cocaine and whatever else pills you might be taking. You know, the heart can only take so much. And like I say, most of the steroid guys did strictly with that. They're still around. You know, and like I said, me and Tanaka and a bunch of the guys, not all, you know, there was, you know, some of the guys that OD'd from doing too much. I was all at one time, though. You can't do little Peru.
So in your opinion, you think the ones that left us early,
A lot, not all of them.
The majority were the ones that they were doing a cocktail of both, the steroids and the recreational drugs.
Right, burning.
They couldn't handle both.
Yeah,
their bodies couldn't handle both.
Well, on top of the workload that we had.
Right, 300 days a year.
Yeah, and it's a stressful. You know, we tried not to be stressed. We, you know, Hillbilly Jim used to call it, wherever he sat with anywhere with a 10-foot radius, it was a stress-free zone. Don't bring that stress over here. You know, if you come up, oh, he's a great guy, man. I love old Hillbilly.
Because it was of all the, you know, he has a love of the movies.
You know, with Joe, yeah, with the movie thing.
Yeah, he liked movies.
Yeah, there was
no stress.
You're right. We were sitting over by Hillbilly was at one table, and Joe, Rogory Animal, he was sitting over talking about, well, I really felt bad about missing that show, and I said, but you did it anyway, right? Everybody started laughing, and he goes, you know, Jannetty, you're the only one that can get away with talking to me like that. And he goes, but Daddy, you come up with some stuff sometimes. And Hillbilly said, well, don't you remember we always said he's the smartest fucked up person we ever knew? I'm like, did I just get complimented or what?
Is that an insult or a dig? Yeah.
Is that what they said about him? He's the smartest fucked up person we ever knew.
I tell you, Marty, I think we really could have created some magic with Joe in the studio.
Yeah.
For the live event we had booked, I hate to get into business and finances and things like that, but you know, Joe had a price tag that he wanted, and that was that. And it was
because he was getting it, you know.
Right, and you know, in a lot of cases he was worth it, but it was a little too rich for our wallet for the event we were having down the street. So because of past workings with him, and I have so much respect for him for doing this. We came up with a deal where, for almost like with WWE, gave him a downside guarantee, and then based upon how many people came, he could be paid more at different levels. And he said he'd never done it before, but he was going to do it with us. And for him to have that much trust in me, that meant a lot to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he didn't trust a whole lot of people, and with good reason.
And I tell you this, as far as him in studio, he was an honest guy. He was a blunt guy.
He was always that. Yeah.
I think different than the series that you and I have, I think we could have created a great series with Road Warrior Animal too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And
yeah, because everybody's got their own perspective of what they see and experience.
Yeah.
And really, it's how you internalize it, that matters. I mean, 3 people can see the same thing, but it's how they internalize it. The wolf once told me.
The who?
The wolf. It's one of my older cats.
Oh, okay.
But he's like a guru of wisdom. But, he said you take a lake in the moon's reflection, and you put 3 people around it and ask them to point to it. They'll all be pointing at a different place, but they'll all be pointing at the right place for them.
Right.
So it's that kind of thing with the wrestling world. Our experiences are the way we internalize and perceive them. It's going to be different. 2 people, like you say, with the moon, you see the same thing, but got 2 different. I do it with the news all the time. I'll watch something on Fox News, and then I'll watch it over, same story on CNN News,
it's completely
and it's
different.
opposite.
That's why I think it's so important, Marty, that we continue doing these series, because WWE owns the libraries they own. They can create history the way they want to. That's fine. They own it. It's at their discretion to do so. But there are so many guys who they're not going to release that 3 DVD set of, that have so many interesting memories and experiences and travels and, the ups in lives, the downs in lives. And I think they should be documented, and I think they should be remembered forever. I know right now, we already did an episode on him, but Kamala that passed away, there are so many fans that have come to love the 3-hour documentary we did with Kamala. We didn't do a weekly series like this, but Kamala came in once, and we did a very extensive 3-hour interview on his life. And, basically, he came to the conclusion that he really resented even getting into the industry because of how it turned out for him. But, like you said, everybody's perspective is different.
Yeah. In fact, if I can jump in right here.
It is your show.
Well, when you mentioned Kamala, who was a good friend of mine also, and I want to go out and correct a couple things that maybe I got incorrect, and I might not have, but I might have. So in case they were incorrect, I would like to correct them right now. Take that time. One of them I had heard through the grapevine that Tony was mad at me or upset at me or something, and had to do with something about he thought something I did was racist. Which, I'm the farthest thing from a racist that exists.
Just explain to the fans.
Well,
you posted something you found online.
I'm going to.
It wasn't something you made.
Right. And basically what I did what it was somebody imposed Kamala Harris's head over Kamala with Kamala's lower body, and I forgot what the caption said, but to me I just liked it because I always felt Kamala was around way before she came around, and she got that her name spelled exactly the same. But boy, she gets upset if you don't pronounce it right. Kamala, not Kamala, not Kamala, nothing else. Kamala's got to be just right. Well, Kamala was wearing that name on TV for what, 40 years? Yeah. And so who knows?
Even Trump, when she was announced to be the running mate, he was calling her Kamala.
Yeah, but I think he was doing it on purpose.
Yeah. I'm sure when she was in college during the 80s, she got a lot of...
Oh, I'm sure of that. Yeah, so that's why I had posted. Somebody sent it. I didn't even make it. Somebody sent it to me, and I just shared it with my people on Facebook. And I guess you must have showed him though, because
no, he never even saw it.
Well, see, I don't understand why he would be upset with me then. But Tony, if you're listening, that was nothing. That wasn't meant racist. I was just making fun of the names. Kamala and Kamala spelled exactly alike.
Soon you'll see the episode where I try and explain it to him, how there was no harm, there was no malice, there was no bad intent. It was just a little humor. But Tony can be Tony.
Everybody gets to be themselves, and that's okay.
Well, my
But
goal
I
is...
like Tony. You know, I watched Tony, and when he was with Rocky Johnson, who was a real good friend of mine. You know, Dwayne's dad.
Yeah.
And you know, we partied and ran the country, and other countries together. And I know, you know, they tagged together at one time. Like one of the best teams I ever watched. I used to love watching
First
them.
black tag team champions.
Yeah, and they both were built. I mean, it was like great. You know, so I've always been a fan of Tony's, and we've hung out, you know, I say a bunch, a few times. We always just laughed the whole time. So, you know, it's kind of upsetting to think he might be upset with me.
Well, I tell you this, and believe it or not, earlier today, because it is our Thanksgiving episode, we had a couple of John Cena Sr. pop by for a quick hello and happy Thanksgiving for everybody. And I asked him, I said, because Johnny is another one that is almost like a second dad to me. I said, I think the world of Tony. I think the world of Marty. It was a joke gone wrong. Facebook took it the wrong way, obviously. If
yeah, they blocked me.
From
well,
it.
They do that because, you know, anything that they think is against the Democrats, they get that off.
I said, Johnny, what can we do to bring peace, tranquility, and harmony between Tony and Marty? Because I think the world of both
Well,
of
with
them.
Tony, I'm fine.
Oh, yeah,
I just
right,
don't, I don't
right.
want him being upset with me because I love him to death.
And he said, sometimes you just got to let people have their time to get it out of their system. So maybe that's the end result. But I'd like to have you both on the same shows together. I think it would be a lot of fun.
I can't run that fast. If he gets pissed off, what am I going to do?
Well, that's what I mean. And I mean, Tony can be, and I think the world of Tony, he can be a little on the stubborn side sometimes. The fans don't always get to enjoy that.
How'd that song go? That's his prerogative.
That's his, yeah. That's my prerogative. Yeah, there you go. I think sooner than later he'll get it out of his system and realize what it was. I think even if he looked at it, I couldn't find it online. I wanted to show him what it was.
Okay, you can see it's pretty much.
Because I don't think it was meant with malice. You had Joe Biden dressed up as kimchi.
Was that, I didn't even realize. I didn't even recognize that. I was only laughing because it was Kamala with the name the same.
And then the future vice president's head on James Harris's body.
Yeah.
I got a chuckle out of it.
I think everybody did.
I don't even think the person that made it.
It must have been something else bothering him before that. And
maybe.
That, you know, because I just don't see that one. So Tony, I mean, if you give me a call, you got the number. If you want to talk about it. If not, I guess we'll run across each other somewhere. We usually do when we're back out in the public. You know.
At the end of the day, life is too short.
It is, but it'd be hard to hold your breath through it.
There you go.
But,
all right, well, back to Road Warrior.
Wait.
I'm sorry.
And it was what made me think of this whole thing was I had told a story here that maybe it was it might have been inaccurate, and I don't want anybody you know getting in any attitudes or in any trouble or just being you know felt like I let them down or did them wrong. But that's all we're Tony on here because I like to watch Tony's. He's funny to me. I love it. And like I told you once, man, he knows this shit.
Every Tuesday night at 10 o'clock.
Yes, you watch him, man. He's got some psychology. I never knew he was a load of information like that, a fountain of information. You know about the business. He knows what the hell's going on. You know he jokes around too, so you might not take him sort of like me. You don't take him like he's just a cut up. You know, nah. Tony knows his shit, and that show I watched, I learned a few things. And but he had said you had brought up the shoe with Barb, and I could see the look on his face. And you know, at that point, I didn't know that he was upset with me at all. But I just saw, wonder why he's. And he goes, I don't believe that about Barb. I know Barb, and he goes, I don't believe. I don't believe Marty on that one. And I was like, so it made me think about it. So I'm like. Well, what it was, Barb, wasn't it? Because you remember when I said it?
Yes, you told the story that Barbarian.
Yeah, well, at first, you remember, I thought it was Tony.
Yeah.
You know, I said, Tony. I said, no, wait, maybe it wasn't Tony. It might have been Barb. I wasn't even sure. We have so many stories of experiences we've had that over the years, it's similar ones can mesh together. So you might get a detail wrong here and there, but if it's a person in their life, to get that detail wrong is harmful, and that's why I want to correct any of that.
Well, I know Tony in great detail. Tony and his shoe fetish,
right.
But I've never known him to actually do something like that with the shoe. He likes to be walked on.
And I could be wrong with it being Barb.
But you remember someone made love to the shoe.
Somebody doused the shoe with some cream, and but it might. I mean, I feel like it was Barb, you know, because Barb don't mess around except for no, he don't mess around, and yeah, you know, well, no. He told me one time, you know, joking though. He told me, he said, "Oh, Monty, we were in Denver. I remember going up the elevator, and you know, Barb's nice to everybody, the nicest guy in the world." You know, so if he's talking to a girl, he's probably just talking to her. He's not.
Oh, yeah.
You're not trying to take her back to her room
No.
or nothing. As far as I know, I mean, I'm just
friendly.
saying what I know. And we're getting in the elevator, and you know, Denver was always our town anyway. And he looks over, he smiles, and he goes, "Marty, very pretty girl." And I introduced him, and as we're getting off, he goes, "Marty," he goes, "you'll have girl in every town." And I'm like, well, you know, I'm single. I feel it'd be un-American not to. You know? I said, well, I see you talking to girls all the time. You must have girls everywhere. He goes, oh no, only Samoan way. I said, well, what's the Samoan way? He goes, only one wife and only one girlfriend.
Well, there you go, the Samoan way.
Yeah. So you know that
I've never heard that before.
So I thought. Like I said, I still feel like it was Barb. But there's also another story with Barb that I'm not going to tell. It was a bathroom scene.
With another shoe?
No, it was a human and something that I might have done that he was a part of, because he told everybody the next day, and you know, the dressing room was telling him about it.
So it's not a secret.
So no, but I don't want to talk about it because people got families now, and you don't want their families hearing this kind of stuff. But you know, but see, sometimes it could have been that experience meshing in with the shoe that it just seems like it was Barb, because you know, him being so big and bad, who's going to do anything about it if the girl got mad?
Right.
But it might have been it might have been the Red Rooster. I don't know. It could have been anybody if it wasn't Barb.
Or Tony's personal opinion could be wrong.
And Tony, maybe, I mean, I mentioned it first. I said, Tony, you know, when you got the shoe, I'm like, wait a minute, maybe it wasn't Tony.
Yeah, I've never known him, and at this point, if he has many secrets with me when it comes to that, I'd be shocked considering the videos I've seen. But he's never made love to the shoe. Yeah,
and I was just pointing because Matt Daddy come out here with another girl for the studio.
Line them up, baby. We need them.
But yeah, so if I get some story, all you got to do is ask me, and I like that made me start thinking about it. And I don't want to, also because of the book coming out, and asking people that are included in stories if they're okay with it. You know, Scott Steiner told me, I asked him about, man, we had some good ones, me and him. He used to stay at my house when I had my house in Orlando. And there was a couple good things that we did. But, you know, I asked him about it, and I said, you know, you mind if I put that story in the book? And he laughed, and he goes, you know, it's all different now. We got family, we got you know, girlfriends or fiancés. We really can't talk about some of that stuff. You know, so I was basically saying, no, don't put that in there. And because of that very reason, just like with Sean, there's so much stuff that we experienced together. So it's part of my life too. It's part of my story. But out of respect for, he's got a happy family and kids, and they don't need to hear or see about that.
There's always the way, if you've had, you know, I certainly respect that point of view, but you could always tell the story eliminating the other person's name.
Well, sometimes what I will do is say a tag team partner, and if I slip up and say Sean, well, I didn't.
You had to run with X-Pac.
It was Sean Waltman, so I do it that way if I think it's a good enough story to tell. Like, you know did I already tell the one about the 1, 2, 3 kid?
No.
When he was the 1, 2, 3 kid.
Well, let's save that for that. Once we get in chronological order. Where
are we at right now? What year?
We on our timeline of WWF, we're looking at early 1989, so we got a ways to go.
We ain't even hit the 90s yet?
We might be into 2025 by the time we get to the 90s.
And I still got to get this haircut.
But any Road Warrior animal, I know you didn't start to work with him until mid-1990. But
who's that?
Joe.
Oh, yeah.
Any memories of Joe? Traveling with Joe, fun with Joe?
I can't say because Kim is probably watching because that's his wife.
Yep.
she hit me up on the Messenger last night, Facebook Messenger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she said I probably got to watch these shows, and so I know she's watching. I can't tell stories that were before you, Kim. I think I even introduced them.
Really?
Yeah, I knew
Wow.
Kim back in '88 from Houston. We used to hang out, you know, and good people. And I don't know if I was the one that introduced him, or I know was.
I thought he was married to a different woman then.
Now we're back. He was, I
In
think.
the 80s. I don't know.
Oh, back then.
Right.
I don't know much about that. I just know you mean so like James.
Well, I think
mom.
this was. I don't know if it's his second wife, but it's
I
not
don't
his. It's
either.
not his first wife that he was with when he passed.
No, that's the most
Right,
recent one, Kim. I'm trying to think how to pronounce her last name, Kim. It's not that hard, but yeah, she's a sweetheart. You know, but
Hey, well, I mean, any fun memories of Animal? Nothing that has to be over the top. To your thoughts of him as a human being, your thoughts of him as a worker.
Oh, I mean, I love everything about him. He was a hard worker, you know, a monster in the gym. They say I think it was called Grandma B's, up in Minneapolis.
In Minneapolis, yep.
Where they were all from. He was a bouncer. Can you imagine a bar club, whatever the hell you call it, where the bouncers, or Kevin Kelly, Nails, you know, who's just raw bone, he knocked the head off an ox. You know, Barry Darso was at one of the doors, Hawk, Animal,
Barry
Rick
was
Rude.
Barry was there, wasn't he?
Barry Darso, yeah. Rick Rude. These are the bouncers. These are the baddest guys in the wrestling world, and they're all bouncers at one club.
Was John Nord there too?
John Nord, yeah. And,
I don't know what they were drinking in Minnesota. In that crystal clear water they have.
I used to
Those
say
are some
that.
big badass boys.
I used to say that. What's going on when I moved to Minneapolis for AWA days? They're like, what the hell are they drinking? They're all monsters. They're all badasses. But they're all good people. You know? They're look, man. Hey, I'm like, hey, just don't. Hey, I love you to death. What'd you say to me? You just don't mess with them. The nicest guys in the world, but just that's like Barb and Haku. She's the nicest guys you could ever meet. Please don't piss them off though. But yeah, that Minneapolis crew and Joe was always good to me. We kind of hit it off. You know, Hawk and I were. Joe didn't really party. As far as I know, because I never really did anything but drink beer, or, you know, alcoholic beverage.
I think you're 100% right about that.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
I wouldn't call him a great friend, but you know, from when we had him here in Boston wrestling for different appearances, live events over the years, I got to know him a little bit, and he was never one to take it to the extent that Hawk did, which is why Hawk left us in 2003. You know.
Yeah, he'd gotten off everything though. I think he had called me a couple of days before or something.
I think he had just gotten married again.
Yeah, and they were moved. I think
they were getting ready to move somewhere down in Tampa.
Yeah.
I think her name was Dale. Was that her name?
Maybe, I don't know that part. But I know that he'd worked his ass off moving that furniture, and he was exhausted. But he'd gotten away from everything. You know, the steroids, the cocaine, probably even the drinking.
They became very, very involved in religion.
Oh yeah, he started doing his testimonies with DiBiase. You know, they would tour around and give testimonies and stuff. And it's weird. That's why I'm scared to straighten up, because it seems like every time a crazy wild partier straightens out, that's when they die.
The only one, you know, I think you're right about that, is our good friend Porcaz Rovaziri. Now that he has become, you know, clean and sober and away from everything, the poor guy, I don't know if he's only made a couple of appearances over the last decade now. He's in so much pain, and the amount of money that he commands would blow your mind.
Who's this?
The Sheik.
Oh.
Sheiky baby.
Yeah, but I thought he was doing good with, was it Twitter or something where he was?
He does. He has one of those flip phones from Target. He's not tweeting. Are you shitting
Well, no,
me?
somebody was running the site for him, and
Yeah,
he could say anything. Like, remember he was saying Kanye West, like, oh, that's a good that he's fucking that girl.
Yeah,
you know,
none of that's him. I mean, please.
Right. I thought they were just, he would say it and they would go write it. You know, they handled his sites.
They handled the business aspect of it from sure, but he's sitting at home watching Dr. Phil. But Tony and I
That's what's wrong.
Tony and I went to see him at WrestleCon in New York City last year, and funny enough, first live event I ever went to at the Boston Garden as a little kid in August of '86, Tony and the Sheik were both on it. First live event I ever worked for Boston Bad Boy Tony Rumble in 1993, Sheik and Tony were both on it. So it was almost like a little mini reunion, me, Tony, and the Sheik in New York City. And he's just so deflated on the inside, I guess. He was a man with so much pride with everything that he has done in his life. And now, his ankle is in worse shape than yours.
If that's possible. Mine's going to be fixed soon. I'm so happy. Go ahead, though. Go finish.
We were in that car accident together that I told you about back in 2005 when we got hit by the drunk driver, and neither of our bodies have ever been the same. But,
was yours the same to start with?
What do you mean?
Was your body the same as your body to start with?
Yeah, I'm the same size.
That ain't what I meant.
You're losing me.
I lost myself.
No, but I mean, he didn't get CRPS, the condition that I suffer from, but his ankle.
What is that exactly? You told me.
Complex regional pain syndrome.
And what does that do?
It can affect. It's funny. It creates these pain flares that, if you research it, that are on par with giving birth or having an amputation. When I'm really bad.
You can't give birth, brother.
Well, there was an episode we did. Maybe I've told you this before, but I take pride in it because I think the world of Bill and Barry, Demolition.
Right.
I don't know if I told you this. I reunited them after 16 years of them not talking.
I didn't even know they did that.
16 years they didn't talk.
Well, they going anger, or they just didn't.
Remember when Bill left after Survivor Series '90? It was Barry and Crush, Demolition.
Yeah.
There was heat over a few things.
Because they continued it.
Yeah, Bill thought it would be best for them to scoot town.
Dissolve the whole thing.
And look at what Demolition turned into. They jobbed them out, and then Barry became Repo Man, and Crush vanished for a while.
That's right. He was that after, wasn't he?
But I had a flare. It was in both of my legs. I couldn't walk. I couldn't get into the bathroom. I couldn't shave. I look, not that I look great now, but I was an embarrassment even being on the set. But I had so much respect for the two of them, I could not cancel on them. So we did the shoot. We dropped them off at the hotel. They dropped me at the hospital, and I got admitted. It was so bad. It can affect, my feet could blow up like footballs. It can affect my knees. It can affect sometimes just toes, ankles. And so one of the newer phenomenons is sometimes it'll affect an elbow. A couple of times this year, my left hand, which makes it difficult because if my hand swells up like this, how am I supposed to do the work in the other room here at the studio? But what was funny, a fan that watches this show is only the second person I've met outside of the medical world that even knows what CRPS is, and he suffers from it. I think he said in his elbow.
Yeah.
I can't think of the gentleman's name, but he left a message on YouTube about it because it's a very rare phenomenon.
I would say I've heard of almost everything. That was when you told me about it, when we first met.
And it almost sounds like a joke, CRPS, Crips, cripples. But it is an ungodly, painful,
far from a joke.
disease. If you ever saw me, it happened. I could show you a picture of it. That weekend I was talking about with Tony and the Sheik, one of my knees blew up. One leg is normal, and then the left leg, it's almost double the size. How I got through that weekend, I was ready to send them to WrestleCon without me because I was literally, I couldn't get out of bed. But you know the wrestling world, right?
Yeah.
And you could take 20 Vicodin, and it would not help it.
Oh, really?
They were giving me that. What's that heavy duty stuff? The hillbilly heroin they call it. Dilaudid.
With Dilaudid, yeah.
They would give me Dilaudid.
But
It'd be like taking a Tylenol.
Oxycontin should,
Nothing can. It's just the only thing that really helps it. If you take, there's a steroid that I take. It keeps the swelling down. Yes. If I take that, at least, and if I can keep the swelling down, I just have to try and manage the pain. That usually I'm on. Almost like what you had.
But that works because the doctor suggests. I'm about to get them fixed anyway. Now, finally, after 10 years. Would the
prednisone help you?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, that's what
Do you take it now, or they think it will help?
Well, they've been telling me if I took that, it would take the inflammation out.
Yeah, and that helps me a ton.
Yeah.
The pain is awful, but as long as I can actually get out of bed and go, take a shit, it's awful.
You was gonna take a shit.
I have to have people help me put my socks on at 40
Oh, I got to
years
do
old.
that, man. It hurts.
It's
especially the
awful.
long ones like this. Cause I got to. Oh God, I can't bend. Oh man, I got to move. You know, and they're not even tight, but it feels like I'm pulling a damn vice
You want
over
to
me.
die. There's so much pain. Trying to just move the leg if it's in the knee. Just trying to be able to get pants on. They've seen some horror stories down here. I can't tell you how many times they've had to call the ambulance for me here at the studio.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
They put me in one of the wheelie chairs in the office that I sit in, almost like I'm garbage, and they wheel me out to the sidewalk, and they wait for the ambulance to pick me up.
You must have health insurance then.
Oh, yeah.
Because after the second time I'd call, I'm like, man, I can't walk. I need y'all. It's in so much pain. I want to stab myself. You're the one that don't have the health insurance. Like, I'm on Obamacare. Well, we can't come get you. Damn it.
That's a different story for a different time. But again, you know, I'm sure we'll talk more about the Road Warriors Legion of Doom coming to WWF.
Yeah, well, Joe, I got more stories with
summer
Hawk.
of 1990.
A ton of them with Hawk. But Joe was always.
Where it was him as a person. Anything about Joe that you think people should know, that you'd like him to be remembered for?
I just think he was a hell of a hard worker, and he had a creative mind. He always was coming up with storylines, you know, and so much so that I think they were like, okay, we're still working on the last 3 you gave us. You know, he was just hard work. He was always thinking of, you know, how we get pretty much, I shouldn't say this, but I think all the business probably was done by him more so than Hawk did.
Very much so.
Because, you know, they had a gym together. It was called The Gym up there in Minneapolis.
Was that the name of it?
Yeah, the gym.
Yeah.
And it was a great gym too. And man, there was so many good people we met there. Shoot, I can't think of his name right now that ran it for him. He was he was so dedicated. He fixed up a little room where he could work late night and sleep there, get up early in the morning and start back. Yeah, it is. But that was theirs, and I got to tell you one sign they had on the door. When you come in, this is just kind of setting the tone for stuff of who owned it. And they didn't care. There was a sign that said, if we catch anybody using steroids in this gym, no lawsuit will be worth the damage you're going to get.
Wow.
I mean, it's posted right there.
Wow.
So you pretty much know, don't take shots here. You know, because a lot of guys will go in the dressing room and do their shots right before they work out.
Well, I tell you this, it was a shame. I can't tell you. Him and Jake were two of the guys I was really looking forward to being with us in the month of November, but coronavirus is killing.
Oh, Jake's not going to come?
Well, we had, originally the event was in April. It was called Back to the 80s WrestleFest, and we had a bunch of the 80s legends coming in. And Animal and Jake were two of the featured ones.
She'd get up with, what's his name, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, too.
He'd be great, too.
Yeah,
The event got rebooked to November 14th, but obviously, like I told you, in Massachusetts, the law at that point was 25 people, which has been restricted to 10. So, I mean, it's been postponed again to April of 2021. But obviously, Joe won't be with us. Joe will be missed. Joe will be missed. He was a good man. I didn't know him as well as you did. But I can certainly say I respect him as a professional, and I respect him as a human being. He was very blunt with his opinions. As far as business goes, he did business the way he believed to do business. I think he did it in an honorable and a respectful way. And that's my thought on it.
I think, and I could be wrong, but I could be right. I think he kind of felt slighted a little bit when Johnny, his brother, came in and took over as vice president. Because here he was giving all these ideas and working his ass off besides just his match and being professional in the ring, out of the ring, in public and all that, doing his personal appearances in a professional way. Johnny slipped right into that spot, the vice president, and Joe couldn't even get into creative department where you're writing the storylines. So, like I said, I could be wrong, but I might be right.
Wrestling wise, he might have hurt himself a little bit because they never wanted to do jobs. But like you're saying, once Johnny, and I like John an awful lot.
No, I do too.
Once he got in that position, there were a lot of things you could do with Animal that didn't require him to be an active wrestler, whether it be one of their training centers, personal appearances, creative. I think he would have been really good in creative. maybe he was, do you think maybe he was a little too blunt for WWE?
I don't know. I never saw him have a conversation with him. I mean, I didn't feel like he was too blunt. He was just to the point, but he still kind of, tamped it down a little bit, where some guys don't. They have no filter. They'll just tell you what. Terry Taylor would be one. But you know where they stand. You knew where Joe stood, but he just had a softer way of letting you know, and sometimes it's, it's like, well, look, we're not here to be friends. We're here to do business.
Yeah.
But did you know whose jersey this is?
Number 11, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, you know who that is? One of the Falcons?
No, I really don't.
Here, I'll turn around and show you. I have to get them. I ain't getting on my knees for no damn belt. No, I ain't doing it.
My vision is horrible. I didn't see it.
It's Jannetty. It says Jannetty.
Oh, it's a customized jersey.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
No, I played for him for a day.
Did you? No. You had one of those one-day deals.
Yeah.
All right, wrestling fans, we discuss Road Warrior Animal and a lot of other things. As our episodes with Marty always take twists and turns.
Yeah, but this was a boring episode, wasn't
I
it?
don't think so.
Tell a joke.
Tell a joke?
Yeah.
I'm in good physical condition.
I'm going to tell that joke, too.
I know, we have something in common, right? Yeah. All right, wrestling fans, we hope you had a very happy Thanksgiving. Don't forget, next weekend, we have not one, not two, but 3 live in-studio appearances. Next Friday, December the 4th, Savio Vega will be with us live. Next Saturday, Brian Knobs and Jerry Sags are going to get nasty in the studio. And then next Sunday, replacing Bushwhacker Luke, who can't be with us because of his personal preference due to some family health issues going on, Tony Atlas is going to have a cyber Christmas party during NXT TakeOver. So we're in for an interesting weekend. Then the following weekend, again, Friday, December the 11th, your buddy the Warlord will be with us for the very first time. Next Saturday, December the 12th, the Native American Tatanka. And then next Sunday, December the 13th, it's a doubleheader of future stars, superstars. We'll be joined by recent Ring of Honor Pure Title Tournament competitor Wheeler Yuta, one of the superstars of tomorrow, as well as the new Impact Wrestling World Champion Rich Swann, joining us for the first time here in studio in 8 years. And I know John Cena Sr. and that Thunderdome on the top of his head is trying to come up with some other great things for you, too. So visit BostonWrestling.com. It's never too late to get the VIP package. All of the superstars that are with us are going to sign enough photos for us to be able to give these Toy Drive VIP packages out through December the 19th. Visit BostonWrestling.com. Help us update Santa Claus's GPS. And just as important, we honor this man's memory, as we miss him every day. So for my buddy Marty Jannetty, we'll be back, I think it's safe to say, next Thursday at 10 p.m.
That's safe.
Until we speak again, folks, happy Thanksgiving. Be well.
Wrestling fans, the 9th annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive Cyber Fanfest explodes into Christmas with interactive cyber autograph signings, live interviews, raffles, merchandise, and more. We were excited to bring you a wrestling event here in Boston, but we have the ability to bring a Cyber Fanfest to great fans like you around the world. Recent WWE NXT Cruiserweight Champion Leo Rush kicked off the drive with autograph photos and posters still for sale online. Let's run down the list of remaining cyber autograph signings where you can get an autograph photo for yourself or to give to a friend or a loved one this holiday. Mail order for your items is also available. On Survivor Series Sunday, November the 22nd, Marty Jannetty will be with us live for a cyber autograph signing during the Farewell to the Undertaker. You never know what to expect with Marty in studio live. We're back Friday, December the 4th with the veteran former Nation of Domination member Savio Vega, a.k.a. Quang, making a rare appearance in Boston. Things are going to get nasty on Saturday, December the 5th when Brian Knobs and Jerry Sags, the Nasty Boys, join us for the very first time. A great chance to get the former WWE and WCW Tag Team Champions signed. Sunday night, December the 6th, WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas returns for a Cyber Christmas party during our NXT TakeOver Watch Along. Tony will be signing autographs and will also have his art available for purchase. The following Friday, December the 11th, one of the most powerful superstars in wrestling history, the Warlord, joins us live in studio discussing his WWF run beginning in 1988. Saturday, December the 12th, the superstar undefeated for 2 years in the WWF, Native American Tatanka, will be with us supporting the Toy Drive. Then on Sunday, December the 13th, it's a double feature of future star superstars as recent Ring of Honor Pure Title Tournament competitor Wheeler Yuta joins us in studio for the first time after competing here in Boston Wrestling MWF, along with the man visiting us for the first time in 8 years, the new Impact Wrestling World Champion Rich Swann. And it wouldn't be Christmas without old John Cena Sr. with us live and in person as he's been working the phones on the North Pole. Again, autographs and all-inclusive VIP packages are on sale now at bostonwrestling.com. Help our tradition of updating Santa's GPS to find every kid's home this year while creating smiles and honoring the late, great Paul Bearer's memory. From our family to yours, happy holidays, Merry Christmas.